Howdy doody. Okay. What do we got today? So I've already been coding for a little bit. I just now turned on the stream. Just trying to make some good progress. And for anybody watching this later, building basically the ability for the service industry, plumbers, HVACers, water heater repairmen, whatever, to instead of having to get a service call and drive out to the location to check on your AC unit, why can't they just FaceTime? So I'm building an app for that for a client, building in public here. Just going to stream a bunch of it as much as I can. And today so far, I've just done a lot of refactoring and reorganization. I've gone through my Postman and updated a bunch of Postman calls, understood some of the API a little bit better, refactored the form that I'm using, and we're about to get into dealing with a bug as soon as the AI finishes refactoring some stuff that I wanted it to do. So let's see what it did here. By default, we stop the agent after 25 tool calls. You can resume the conversation. Sheesh. Did it do all the things? Okay, I did a bunch of stuff. Let's see. So I had asked it to move. It had these. I have one form, which is not even on the screen. Let me go grab it. Actually, I'm bring this whole thing over so you guys can see everything over here. ChatGPT. Probably this guy over here, which is not running. Let me go run this, which I'm going to need to do anyways. Service is not found. I should probably add. Okay, another little bug here. Everything used to be under service. It should now be under video consultation form. Yeah. There's a redirect, redirecting it back. Anyways, this is what the app looks like so far. You do some stuff. Oh, wait for it. No, it failed. Okay. So now this used to be 3 separate pages. Now this is 3 separate steps in a single form. And it looks like I got a couple of things to fix. Before I forget, since I found it, it's not just that doesn't work, it's the redirect here. If I go to the root URL, redirect to service, that's not good. I'm sure that's just super simple here. Video consultation form. If I do that and then go back to the root URL, okay, fixed that bug at least. And we got some other issues here, which I don't understand yet, but that's okay. I'm gonna figure that out. Oh, yeah. Fix this for you. There you go. Get rid of that. Okay, trying to load components date step from /. But it's there. But it's not. Why would it be //? There's no way. Really? Okay. Come on. Give me the next one. Import confirmation step. Okay, not sure why that was failing before. Plumbing, do this, failed to load. No problem. API available time slots gave a 404. Okay, I'll fix that in a second here. One other thing. Well, I'm gonna fix that right now, actually. Let me turn my phone off. Also, might have to figure this out. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that audio or not. Oh, you know what? I'd probably have to pipe it through Meet and Monitor. Anyways, I'll figure that out when somebody's viewing. Available time slots 404. So this is going to be... Okay, let me clean up my headspace here. Should have been... Okay, so the page, this looks better. I like this. I kind of know what's going on. I'm actually going to delete these. Yeah, whatever. Can I just double highlight? Yeah, delete. Move to trash. Services also. Wait, there's nothing in service? I don't know. Guess we're deleting that too. But under services, well, let's go to handlers first. So handlers get available time slots. This is partially giving a 404 here. 404. Why is it a 404, you guys? Book. Because it's supposed to be... Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking I know what happened here. So when I go to the date step... Okay, sorry. I'm still trying to grok this refactor. Because now I have 4 steps, which does not seem right if case is service. What does this start out as? Use effect if success is success, go to confirmation. Oh, I see. Oh, interesting. Okay. Default is the service step. So that should be loading this first one here. This one with the plumbing. Yes, so I see that. Okay, confirmed. So this is the service step. That is going to route to the date step. So service really should be service selection. And I almost want to say 1, 2, 3 in the file names, but I won't. So service selection step, and then we go to date selection, or I don't want to say date selection. I want to say like availability selection or something. Date selection, appointment selection. Appointment date selection. Appointment date step. Let's do that, I guess. And then this is the one that's failing. And that's because it's going to API available time slots, which is actually a much better name for it, right? I mean, let's be real. Maybe this is a good time actually to switch things up a little, because what this wants to do, hey, how do I go back? this data is getting used right here for setting the available time slots, but it's available time slots of the technicians in order to book the job. The thing I'm struggling with is that I kind of wanted to put everything under book, maybe. Although I like this appointments, to be honest. Maybe I just redo this here because this used to be calling, I guess this one, right? Get available time slots. What if I took this, put it under here? What's the hotkey here? How do I just do this thing? Import, 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 import all the guys. You couldn't like do that the first time. So appointments, get available time slots, get available. I guess I don't like this as a get necessarily here, but whatever, dude. Because this is going to go, it actually does a lot of heavy lifting because it looks at the auth service, the technician service, etc. Yeah, I mean, it is, whatever. I don't want to overthink this. I have that. This is appointments. So I should just be able to say fetch appointments. Voila. Oh boy. I don't like this. No, it rewrote too much of my code. This is dumb. Hold on. I need to go back to appointment date step. And I want it to refactor this again. So I used to be, I don't know if you guys saw it before, but it's not the worst, I guess. I want select date to be a date picker, actually. I want the select dates component to be a date picker. Once the date is picked, then you can list the available time slots in a single vertical row, column, I guess. List, column list. This isn't the worst, actually. It's actually kind of nice that this is compact. I just don't like this. Let's start simple. I'm going to be right back, I think, especially while this is working. Also, this does not actually create the booking. It just creates a Stripe session. Get availability time slots by technicians. So I'm going to cancel that. Cancel meaning delete it. This creates a Stripe session. Yeah, I'll have to fix that later. Taking your sweet time, dude. 7 seconds? Feels like a lot longer than 7 seconds, homebrew. Homebrew. Key improvements. Blah, 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 blah. Just do it. Let me see it. Boom, boom, boom. Next. Okay, I kind of like that. What in the world is doing here? Whoa, interesting. Whoa, I've never seen this kind of component before. I don't know that anybody would use that. 10. Boom. That's weird. Not a fan. Whatever. Okay. There's one key thing here. Well, okay, first of all, let me test this back button, test the next button. Thinking about it. Picking a date. Date got saved. 6th, which is Friday. I got to select a time slot, 8 a.m. One technician available at 8 a.m., 2 at 8:30. This is the bug. Okay. 2 at 8:30, I hit next. It's selected Adam. Let's just take a quick gander before I go on a little break here. Adam, he actually, I know you can't quite see this, right? Adam actually has an appointment Friday at 8. 8 to 9 is the appointment. So I should not be able to book 8:30 for Adam, which is exactly what I'm about to do. Also, this is a whole hour long. Is that right? I guess that's right. Okay. That's another thing I got to fix. Hold on, let me write that down. System is booking the whole hour. Is that right? I don't know. I might actually leave that in there until I get some customer feedback. All right. I'm going to go get some coffee, roll in here. And then I don't want to submit this yet because I want to go back and fix this bug where there should not be 2 technicians available at 8:30. You can see the logic maybe sort of works here because there's only 1 available at 8. I think these guys have slightly different schedules. I would have to go check their schedules because I think one might start at 7:30, the other one starts at 8 o'clock because you can see there's 2 available and then only 1 here. Anyways, I'm going to fix that when I get back. Stand by. Oh, gotta mute. Sorry about that. So, how's it doing? We got to fix this bug here, and when I was looking at my postman, I noticed that we got a couple of fields in this API call. So we call appointments. We're filtering by the technician. We're saying starts on or after a certain date, starts before a certain date. So you got a time window here. Boom. This one is looking, the start is at 1300 to 1400. That's a whole hour. The arrival window, though, is only 1300 to 1330. And if we go look at where that's happening in the codes, up and over yonder. So not route, that's a front end page here in the handler here, get available time slots. We're doing some tech filtering. We're building out the time slot thing. Is it in here? No. Where are you? I guess I can just search for this. I don't remember where it went exactly. Arrival. So apparently check if current time block is available. This is only looking at arrival window start. So I guess if we switch this to just start and end. Now appointment is any, not a fan of that. Can we fix this TypeScript thing here? Appointments comes back from response data here. I want to type this. This is under handler services. Let's just create a new types file. And I'm going to take all this. And I'm going to do like a big one like that. Oh yeah, look at that. Give me the whole thing there. Appointment number. There should be more though, right? Data. Oh, that's why. All right, it's looking fine, I guess. Can I just say thank you? That's what I was trying to say. Appointments. Now this is under the. Yeah. Okay. So JPM jobs, jobs and project management. So job appointments. Is that what this is? Are these jobs or are these appointments that are listed here? Kind of confusing, ain't it? Because we got a job here, but we also have an appointment. Scheduled appointment, blah, blah, blah. Job ID, appointments. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is just appointments. I was thinking about making this like job appointments or something kind of fancy. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to come back to my handler here. Appointments. And I'm going to say as. It's not a list of appointments. So here's another thing I need. I need to come back to here. And this is where. Okay, this is under API. It says services. I don't like that. I want to call this ServiceTitan because it is specifically the ServiceTitan API. And I'm actually just going to move the types under here for now, sort of as a representative move. Okay, and then under types here, I'm going to have some kind of generic interface, ServiceTitan response. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. That looks like it's probably right. Page size, has more, total count, data T, Bharati. Gonna do that, gonna do this, gonna do that. And then what? How's this gonna get used? We're gonna come back over here as ServiceTitan response with appointment as the dealio. I hope it's auto fixing stuff here. I think I like this. I don't like this. Hold on, let me just make sure. Yes. Appointment, appointment. Hey, what happened to all my stuff here, man? Bruh. Bro. Is this right? Hold on. Status, special instructions created on, modified on, customer ID, unused, created by ID is confirmed. It's confirmed. Okay, that looks better. Appointment, yada yada. Now this is saying property sum does not exist on appointments. Ooh. Dot data. You see what I did there? Dot data. That's the problem. Let's do this. I'm not really sure why. I think just because I want to show that that's the right type there. Now it's having a good time. Just like the music in my headphones. Okay, so, assuming I didn't break anything, if we go here to the 6th, I guess I got to refresh this. So 8:30 right now says 2 techs available. Should only be 1 tech. After I refresh, oh golly, it took me back to the first one. Next. I want to go for Friday. Boom. See that? 1 tech. That is a commit and push moment, ladies and gentlemen. Get status, lots of things, because I actually did a refactor first. Probably should have committed that. Probably should have made that a separate commit. We moved a bunch of stuff around. Let's do just a quick scan through. That's a moved file, I'm assuming. Yeah, I really need to add a linter in here to auto lint, like prettier, right? I want prettier in here, auto formatting everything. Set job ID. Why did I do that? Confirmation step. Job ID. What job? Set job ID, data ID. This is coming from the job. So when it creates the job, it stores the ID in ZooStan state. Oh, because it's trying to reset the form. Go to the definition, set the initial state. Okay, well, that's fine. I didn't tell you to do that, but that's the cost of coding with an agent. It's going to go do things that you didn't expect. Clear form, etc. Coffee?
Yes.
Woo! Everybody say thank you, Katara. You going to poke your little head in? It's just a wee head. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I said poke your little head in.
Okay.
I don't know. Sorry. Last time she made me coffee. There's a whole bunch of coffee grounds in the cup. A little bit of extra kick. She's getting good at it though. All right, who's out there? 2 viewers. You guys lurking? On click, handle, return home button. Do we have good back buttons on all this? We do. Next. Good. Selected Pedro like I wanted. And not Adam, because Adam's unavailable during that time. Lots of other refactoring. Oof, I'm gonna have to fix this later. Success URL. Did something get added there? No, we just changed the URL because everything's under the video consultation form now. Okay, this is looking a lot better aside from the white spaces that I want to fix later. Feature bug. So this is a refactor and a bug. So I'm going to say bug using wrong data for availability calculation. Push that. And let's go see what's next. So going back to our task board here, the main thing I'm looking at is the form should book any available technician, which as we are looking at, that is what this is doing. Don't ask me about this date component. I'm embarrassed. No, AI came up with it, but I can book anybody and it will just randomly choose. So I'm assuming if I chose 9:30 here, I get Adam. If I was to continue to select 9:30, I would eventually end up with somebody else. Pedro. Okay. So it's just kind of not even round robining. It's just randomly selecting. That looks good. Provide your contact info. I feel like there's something else I want to do here. Where's my notes? We fixed the rival window. Create a new appointment with a large window. System is booking for a whole hour. Is that right? Right. This is possibly going to book for the full hour. I'm not sure about that. I guess we can just finish the flow here and make sure this booking actually happens. So let me do that. Just to make sure I didn't break anything. It's going to take us to a test stripe. Where we pay $25. Ooh, interesting. Confirming your appointment. That's nice. Appointment confirmed. If we go back to our ServiceTitan thing here, refresh. Oh, it was for a whole hour. No, we need to fix that. That's actually a bug. But it worked. I can return home or book another. Interesting. What if I book another? It's the same thing. Oh, and I can't go back per se. Whoa, taking me back goes all the way there. Okay, return home. It's the same deal, but you can see the URL is a little bit different in both cases. I'll figure that out later. So let's do manual. I don't know, the agent's doing a little too much lately. I think I'm gonna have to drop back to manual. Manually decide what gets added and stuff. So somewhere, so there's get available time slots here, but I have this create job appointment. I've got the start time and end time, and I'm not sure. Do I log this? I hope I log this. Start and end. Job data. So this job data is getting logged out down here, which means that when we put this together, we're using the past and start and end time, which are already an hour apart. So I need to go back up to the UI pages, which is probably the appointment date selection. End time. See the end time here? That's an hour, right? 60 seconds over an hour. So let's not do this. Let's take this and I don't think I have a constants file anywhere. Well, thank you, Radhi. Let's go to utils. All right, this is a good place to put a constants. Export, I'm going to say 30 minutes. And come back here. And it knows that this should be 30 minutes, and it knows that it should import that. So let's do that. I also try coding after 2 years now, and I love it. Yeah, it's fun. I know I should test this. I kind of don't think I will, though. I guess what I can do, I don't want to like create another appointment actually. So what I'm going to do just to test this is we're going to log out the job creation data, but we're going to return right here because I don't want to actually create another job. It's going to try to create the job. It's going to try to create the invoice here. We're going to deal with that later. I think everything else is just fetching data, so we should be safe. It's not, it doesn't really, so I am using a live integration environment in ServiceTitan. So it's live data, yes, but it's integration environment, so nobody cares about it if I create a bunch of random stuff. Anyways, we have another problem here. Hold on, before I go further. So what did I book this for? Okay, I guess the last one got booked on Pedro, 9:30 to 10:30. Good. Okay, sorry. I thought I was at 9. So that was getting booked. So there's only one tech available now at 9:30 and 10:30. So let's book that one technician at 9:30. I'm going to go through the same rigmarole here. I'm going to say submit. It's going to go to Stripe checkout. I'm going to pay money. Boom. Okay, I've run into this error before. This is good. Maybe we can take a second to deal with that. Okay, this error is a personal problem. Personal problem because I did the return. I short-circuited the logic and it wasn't ready for that, so it failed. But what I want to just validate here is that it would have booked between 14:30 and 1500. So that's a half-hour time slot. So that fixes that bug. So I'm just going to revert my return so the system works properly. Do a get status, get diff the staged stuff. So I added the 30 minutes, constant. Done and done. Why isn't it twice? Oh, because I see import. Yeah. Fix 30-minute time. What's the commit message here, you guys? It was an hour. Did I call that a time slot? 30-minute booking? 30-minute booking. It's better. MERN-stack is good as a career. MERN-stack is good as a career or cloud engineer. I chose as a career to get actually high package. When you say package, I assume you mean like when you get hired, an offering, job package. MERN, I'll be honest with you guys. So MERN, right? That's the Mongo, Express, React node. Is that the MERN stack nowadays? MERN stack to me feels like an older term. So I just want to double check that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Mongo Express, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a good start. I think it's a solid start. I think if that's your starting point for you haven't had other experience before, that is a really good full stack developer skill set. Good on you. And that would be good as a career or cloud engineer. I wouldn't do MERN-stack if you're trying to sell yourself as a cloud engineer, just because I would have to go look up the terms. What is a cloud engineer? Cloud engineer feels like a DevOps term to me. Senior is your developer. Cloud engineer is an IT professional who designs, builds, and maintains cloud-backed systems and infrastructure to solve business challenges or improve efficiency. So that's more of like solutions architect territory. If you're trying to call yourself a cloud engineer, you're not a developer at that point as much. You're more focused on infrastructure stuff, right? So if you're trying to be a cloud engineer, MERN stack is probably not the best use of your time. Then again, I think once you have experience as a developer, you can always transition to the cloud engineer. All right, what's next on our project here? Hold on, let me pull this up over so you guys can see my journal here. So I did this earlier. I did a bunch of Postman setup and kind of data investigation. And then we did this on the front end. That was the arrival window bit there. Test, create a new appointment with a large window. I'm going to call that good because, come here. System is now booking a whole hour. Is that right? No, it was not right. That's also got fixed. Next on my list, make business. So the thing that I was saying yesterday when I was streaming, I'm doing this for a client. Every week I try to have at least one good, solid feature to demo. Okay. So last week it would only book a single technician and it was hard coded. This week we're selecting what service type we're looking for. It's now dynamically pulling the available technicians, putting their schedules together, giving you the mashup of their schedules. If I go back to Friday, this is what we were looking at a second ago. So 1 tech available, 2 techs available, whatever. So you can make your choice. Everything else works as it did previously. So it's just doing the 2 technician deal. And that's actually, form should book available. I mean, this is working as is, right? So I've got some requirements here. No problem. Vabe have. Vabe have. Given I have a group of technicians and I see shared calendar slots to book from, and then I see shared calendar slots to book from, as in this right here. So 2 technicians, 1 technician. When booking request is submitted, random technician is chosen. That is true. And the booking is created. That is true. Technician is assigned to that booking. Let's double check that because I was not explicitly a check. Oh, you know what? Hold up. I'm going to go back to 9:30. I'm going to actually book it this time because I want to make sure Adam's assigned to one, Page is assigned to the other on the back end. So 9:30 right here is Pedro. So once this goes through, we got the booking error again. Okay, good. I want to track that down. I've been waiting for that one. Because check this out. It did actually book it. That's the green one here. So Friday, Pedro had this big long appointment. And Adam, this one's now assigned to Adam. So it's correctly assigning it on the back end. I just wanted to check that. But we get this error. This is good. Why the long face? Error creating job appointment type error. Value is not JSON serializable. I think this feels like, hold on. Yes, indeed. Okay, so this is misleading. The code lies to us. Well, the code don't lie. It's calling, so this is in the routes is where this error handling is happening, where it's saying error creating job appointment. But if we go in here to this, we're doing a whole bunch of API calls up in here. Await auth service, await customer service, await job service. So actually, create job starting at blah, create job starting at start time. This works Or not. Stand by. Because I should have seen job created, right? I don't see job created. Weird. Soviet. API job 5. That's the same. Okay, hold on. I was scrolled way up in my output. Okay, hold on. We got to start over here. You know, just like AI, if you give the human the wrong context, they will get it totally wrong. So it's totally wrong a second ago because I had the wrong context. Let me scroll. Let me try to find. Printing out all this garbage. Okay, I think this was our job here. I think this is where we're supposed to be in the logs. Creating job, starting at that. Job created. So that would be this console log here. Job created. I see your question about ServiceTitan. I'll get to that in a second. Error creating job appointment. So I had this the other day where this call to get invoice by job ID was failing. And I don't know why yet. This is going to take some investigation. So I hope you guys are ready to do some debugging. And I don't mean code. I mean like real life debugging where system A, ServiceTitan we're not using it right, or it's not doing what we expect it to do or something. And we got to figure that out. What is ServiceTitan though? ServiceTitan, I mean, you could chat GPT it, probably give you a better example than me. In the US where I live, there's a lot of service-based companies. They work on your water heater, they work on your plumbing, whatever. So you call the plumber. That plumber's probably using ServiceTitan to organize their workforce, determine where technicians are, what their shifts are, what jobs they do, what capabilities they have. So they use it to run all their back office stuff. And we're trying to build this video consultation app on top of that system. So we're going to be building like the video tech side of it. But we have to integrate with their backend because they already have all of their technicians in that system, payroll, invoices like we're working with right now. So we need to be able to leverage that system and push and pull data while we're doing these like video call schedules and stuff. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, how do we debug this? Job ID. Oops. Oh, geez. Okay, I did copy it. So what I want to do, this is this job ID. 768-18858. This is the right job ID. And we've got some dummy data in here. Gemini test of services. Reviews, tasks, history. So this is a log of what our code was doing. We booked the job. We added a potential member tag to the job. Don't ask me why. Am I doing that? Is that in my code? Customer data, location, address, existing locations, existing jobs. Priority normal. I don't see us adding that detail. Okay. Whatever. Oh, look at this. Dude, it was right under my nose. Hold on. Invoice items less than $0 cannot be added to the invoice. Blah. 16,648. Dude, we're so lucky we just found that. Hold on. There's an invoice right here. Pending. 16,648. Did you see that before? Hash me? Should have called it out, man. Because there are no managed techs assigned to the job. Please first assign or add via adjust splits at least one managed tech to the job. You guys know what time it is. hey, I'm using ServiceTitan and getting this API error. Boop. It says that he's not a managed tech. Is that true? How do I figure that out? So if we go to settings, I know that in ServiceTitan here I can go to settings. I can go to technicians. I know I've got two technicians I'm working with. I'm working with Adam and I'm working with Pedro. This is Adam. And I guess as you can see, license type is a non-managed tech. Does that mean that Pedro is a managed tech? Pedro is a managed tech. Okay, so the real question, we got a couple options here, and I'm not familiar with ServiceTitan necessarily. My assumption, though, no user account, never logged in. My assumption is that non-managed techs should not be a problem. Okay, so Adam is a non-managed tech, and that should be fine. So how do I do the API calls, create the data? How do I do the API calls to correctly create the data that ServiceTitan needs to create a default invoice on the appointment that I am creating? Gets cranky when you try to add invoice items less than $0 to a job without a managed technician assigned, even if a non-managed technician is scheduled. This is because billing and invoice attribution in ServiceTitan is tied to managed techs for labor and cost tracking, but don't panic. Here's your tactical playbook. You're assigning Adam, a non-managed tech, to a job, then trying to add invoice items greater than 0, but certain. I think I kept saying less than 0. Sorry about that. Greater than 0. Oh, greater than 0. Okay, this is making a little more sense because if I do go to this invoice, we actually should see a line. I call these line items right here. So Adam, why is it all 0? Because you guys saw on Stripe, we're trying to charge $25 for this service. And so this is part of the confusing thing actually with these systems. So in ServiceTitan, that's weird. In ServiceTitan, that's where they do their accounting. So yes, we're charging the customer through Stripe, but then we need to reflect that charge in ServiceTitan. Okay. So that's why we have to come over here. We create this invoice. We're setting up this line item. It's interesting though, because it's 0 here. What are we actually putting in the code? Update invoice. We get the invoice by the job ID because every job, when you create the job, it has an invoice auto-magically created along with it. We're getting the invoice. We're then saying we're going to update the data to test invoice test. Is that somewhere on this page? Updated invoice data. Okay, I don't know what that is yet, but then we're adding items. SKU name virtual service, change SKU name to SKU name of the service. Description new service Gemini. Oh, going down the rabbit trail here, becoming experts in ServiceTitan. Bill to Dan via $200. Okay, weird. Unit price, technician ID, quantity 1. So then we try to update the invoice. Well, first of all, let us add some logging here. Do not do that. Say console. I don't want to do that. I just want to, invoice response. Can we do like data dot We don't know what type this is, do we? This is just an any type. Yeah. Ooh. I've got to figure that out. You know what? I should probably move this over to Postman and start investigating this. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do in just a second. But I'm going to finish this train of thought here. So we're going to do that. We're then going to say console log invoice updated by the invoice ID. We're then going to say payments response, sure, existing payment found, or we're trying to add some junk here. Payment created. Okay, that'll just give us a better view next time we do this. He's unmanaged. There's too many possible wrong things going on. I need to focus here. The problem: you're assigning a non-managed tech to a job, even though you might see Adam on the UI under the hood. Managed tech, invoice ownership, and revenue splits. The fix, the API. Use the API to assign a managed tech split. You don't need to assign them to the technician on the job necessarily. You just need to add a managed tech split to the job. Step 1: identify a managed tech. You can get a list by using technicians is managed true, or check their is managed flag. Assign a tech a split even 100% if only one tech. Oh boy. On the job? You call that on the job? You say technician splits, and then you pass in 100%. This tells ServiceTitan, yes, this job has at least one managed tech responsible for revenue. Now you can add invoice items greater than 0. We're delving into business requirements, which we do not know. I need to go ask the client what exactly they want to do here. What I can do is I can go back to my Miro board. I don't know. Do I do it under here? Do I put questions here? Let's do some questions here. Because we do have a couple of questions that when I demo this, I'm going to need to ask the client. Feedback, you guys. Transparency, feedback, talking to your clients, super important. So, do we want to allow non-managed techs to take these video calls, video consultations? If so, we'll need to do something like assign a managed tech to the invoice. I'll be calling this invoice. Yeah, invoice items to the invoice item and like set up the split. Okay, so that's something I need to take back to the client. For now, I kind of need to avoid this bug. Like, I don't want a demo that's just going to be running into these booking errors. So we are going to go in here. And the way that I had set this up is via the business unit. So you guys can see that Adam E was added to the virtual consultations business unit. So instead of that, I'm going to go find the next managed tech in my list, Mr. Dougie, Doug, company position, role, yeah, whatever, bruh. So right here, I'm going to just change him to virtual consultations. I'm going to save that. Now, because this is all dynamic, in fact, this would be a good demo. I should keep this in mind for the demo to the client. Once I add him to the business unit, yeah, I'm thinking about how I want to demo this. I'm going to come back to the home page. Ooh, start over button. Okay, plumbing, whatever. Do this, do that. And I should now see, once I select the Friday, let's say, I see I have 3 techs available. So as soon as I changed it on the back end, the UI picked that up to 3 technicians available. And then real talk. Go back to my technicians. I pick out Adam E here, edit him, remove him from virtual consultations, add him to, I don't know. Well, his role is technician service, so let's go to service. Save that change. Come back to the front end, hit refresh. Return to home. Back to 2 techs. Okay, that should avoid the issue. That I was running into. Not all bugs are bugs, you feel me? We did make a little code change for the console logging. That's good, that's good. There's one other thing that I want to... Let's go ahead and just save that. Chore, add logging. Commit and push! And then... what am I going to do next? So we're good for the demo. So I mean, at this point, for Friday's demo, I would say, in fact, let me go through my list here. Yeah, honestly, bruh. Technician should resign a team now. Okay, so another question here is, we had to assign techs to a business unit, but ServiceTitan only allows one BU per tech. Is that right? Also, another limitation we found in the system is, do we want to support both techs and employees? Because those are 2 separate API calls. So the one API call that I'm doing right now is just looking at technicians. It's not looking at employees. They're like 2 separate things. I'm not exactly sure how ServiceTitan lays out those data entities. I don't know if there's one API that I can just say, get me all the users, whether they're technicians or employees, and then I can filter after the fact. But those are issues I was running into previously. So I want to call that out. And I want to say this is ready to demo. And at some point, I want a different column here. Maybe let's add a column for to demo. I'm going to rename this to like done archived or something. I don't know. Fix that later. Move column to the right. So I do want to say that's ready to demo. And the rest of what we're going to do today actually is just kind of a bunch of boring refactoring, to be honest with you guys. Because there's a bunch of hard-coded things, which I think you probably noticed. So I want to check this virtual service SKU name that's happening here. This job data, job type ID is hard-coded. I'm going to consider that another feature. Actually, this is right here. Form should populate job types. I'm not going to worry about that yet. But like business unit needs to be a configuration variable. And what was the other thing I was looking at? Well, job type technician. Actually, technician is done. This is now dynamic. Give me a second here. Right, technician ID is technician ID. Yeah, actually, what do you guys want to do? We can do both of these, I think. Let's do it. Let's do it. So I am going to start working on that after I fix this business unit ID thing. And then this virtual service. So the thing about this is when we're creating these invoices, we need to know what line item it is that we're charging for, what service. I talked about that earlier, making sure the accounting department is happy with everything we're doing. So one thing I wanted to check in ServiceTitan here is payment types. And I wanted to make sure that this virtual service payment type lines up with what's in ServiceTitan. So somewhere in here, payment and invoice types, there should be this. Name stripe. Oh man, you guys, I'm not actually sure. Change SKU name of the service. We gotta go. I gotta go ask. This can't be right, actually. This is not the SKU name of the service. Recurring service, service agreement templates, market integrations, technicians. You know what? I might go ping my boy too, because he knows. Hey yo, got a second for a quick call? Oh, what's going on? See that? I'm all like fuzzing out on the screen. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? I'll try to fix that for next time. Let's see. When adding the SKU name for a service on the invoice, how do I ensure I'm using the right one in ServiceTitan? Where do I find it in the UI? Let's see. Called the code. Yep, that sounds familiar. And here's where to hunt it down like a T-800 seeking Sarah Connor. I have told my AI to behave like Skynet, so, you know, reminds me that every time I put something in here, it learns a little more about me. It's going to kill me someday. Dashboard, settings, price book. This is what I knew. I knew this. You guys have a lot of things that you know, like, until you need to know them or remember them, and then you don't remember them at all. Price book. Price book's up in here somewhere. Price book. Or search price book in the settings bar. Select services. This is where labor service items are listed. Did you know? Skip. Services. Boom. Okay, this looks good. There it is. Virtual service. Okay, good. All right, so what we're actually going to have to do here now, some of this I got to do off screen because I don't want to share secrets out with the world. Call me crazy. But I'm going to do, we're going to look at the sample ENV here because there's a couple things I want to add. Yes, I want the SKU name, I guess, and that's going to be virtual service. And then I want to go back to where I was before. So that's going to take care of this here. Description. And to be fair, we're building more or less a prototype here. So a lot of what I'm doing is like a half step in the right direction. Like realistically, we would want a database with a configuration table and be putting all that stuff in there. I don't want to bite off that yet. I will have to very soon, but I don't want to bite that off yet. So I'm just going to be driving these things as environment variables for a minute. I guess I could do them as constants. It's a good thing I started talking out loud to explain this. Because now I'm like, well, this is all just constant stuff, actually. And then that'll make it a little bit easier, especially when I deploy this thing to render. We could do that today. Because then eventually I'll just be pulling this from database configs and whatnot. So we're going to stick that there. I might even make this whole entire freaking thing constant. No, I won't do that. But business unit ID, this is going to be a constant. Export const business unit ID. I liked where that was going. Come back. Campaign ID. That's probably pulling from here. Good. Yes. 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 also you. Yes. Good. Good, good, good. Bada boom, bada bing. Priority normal, that's fine. So that's fine. Okay, job type we got to do in a second here. Static web traffic design campaign. There we go. I don't need to say that, but web traffic design campaign, virtual service business unit. Who's actually for this one? And this is the virtual. Actually, I want to put that in here. I want to say price book. Virtual service one-to-one customer tech. That's the service here. Oh, Paul is calling me. What's up, home bro?
Hey, sir.
Home bro, homeboy. I got it figured out. I was digging around in ServiceTitan. I remember you said something about the invoice and the code, the code for the service that goes on the invoice of virtual service. Anyways, I found it in price book in ServiceTitan, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
Yep.
All good there.
What's that?
Coming along.
Yeah. I'm streaming right now about it. Actually, I've been doing live coding for the last 3 days.
No way.
So you're on speaker. Say hi to the stream.
What stream? You got people watching you right now?
You know, it says 5 viewers. I never know what it's. You know, how many of those are like robot AIs just eating up my content because I'm such a genius.
Well, good for you. I love that idea of having people watch you, so you're like, and so you just stay really focused.
Yeah.
Having to perform, doing a performance where you don't even have a pretend audience. At least you get the serious contribution on your part.
Yeah. Oh, Hashimi says hi to you.
What's up? All right. I'm glad you got it figured out.
Yeah. Moving along. Yeah. Well.
The Titans be in your favor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, good sir. I receive your blessing with open arms. All right. Talk to you later, Paul.
Yep.
He was the original developer on this. Did a lot of great work. Hopefully, I'll bring him back. I got to get a couple more paid gigs, and then I'll be able to bring him back and some other people on. Speaking of which, one of my contacts says I have one more developer interview left tomorrow. So hopefully they do that interview and they realize that I'm the perfect choice. I'm the Paragon developer. Paramount? Paragon? I don't know. Just kidding. Okay. We got our constants here. I like that better. I'm actually glad I worked that out loud to you guys. Commit and push that. And then we'll see if we can drive this data. So if we go back to our app here and I go back, this is all hard coded right now. Plumbing, water heaters, water quality, sewer gas. So I know this is called live coding, but like building any real production system here, you spend a lot of your time just figuring out the systems that you're integrating with. And so we're going to have to go look at the ServiceTitan APIs. I'll probably pull up Postman. We'll probably investigate those APIs, probably create some like mock data, some TypeScript types, kind of get everything set up and understand the logic first, and then we can go implement it. Understand the data, then we can implement the logic. This is not a chore. Yeah, this is a chore. Refactor, constants. Didn't need to pull that up. Okay. So the question is, these plumbing, water heaters, water quality, what even are these, man? What even are these? I'm guessing these are not services here. These have to be either job types or appointment types. Plumbing service. Plumbing. Check this out. See if our sleuthing skills pay off. If I go to intownplumbing.tx, this is my client's website. And what you will notice is if I say book, it takes me to a form that they've got here. Star indicates required fields, blah, blah, blah. What can we do for you? Plumbing, etc. Plumbing repair. This is what we built our form off of. Question is, can I see what is happening under the hood? Network, refresh. Some GraphQL stuff. Gets the data back. Rules web chat. I don't even know what this is for, though. Mind flare. Not what I was looking for. I'm filtering on GraphQL like an idiot. Fetch XHR. Can I get can I not get like the domain or something here? Let's see. Path. URL. Take out path, take out name. Take out status, take out type. Just give me the full meal deal, bro. Because I want to know. I want to know. Events, do you guys see it? I don't see it. Web admin. Ajax, PHP, payload preview. Tighter. I mean, this looks like a form, but I don't see any useful data up in here. App launch, no properties. What is app launch? Oh, launch darkly. I'm not seeing the data. So this might be... Yeah, our sleuthing did not work. Okay. I do remember them saying one more thing here, just to try to, if I can see a system that's already using the data, it's going to be a lot easier to code here. And I do remember them saying they were maybe using a little widget. Does ServiceTitan provide, what would you call this, embeddable forms to create new bookings? Okay. Embeddable forms, create new bookings. Because if so, maybe I can look up, does not natively provide it like an iframe or something. Marketing Pro, you configure a web booking form that is embeddable. Question, are they using Web Marketing Pro? Marketing Pro? Fleet Pro? Using Fleet Pro. They have marketing here. I don't see... Review generation, review requests, reviews, locations. I don't see anything about forms and stuff. Maybe under campaigns, but... build a custom form and use the API. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm already doing. You know, I probably need to just ask the client where they're getting that information from. So I'm not going to... So we might have to just wrap up here, because you guys don't need to see me struggle through all this. I'm going to try one or two more things, though, because if I go back to settings, there should be job type mapping, for instance. Job types, for instance. Maybe under job types, they might have... Ooh, they got all this install maintenance stuff, duration, custom fields, active. I can't search, though. Why can't I search? How many do you think there's in here? Huh. Nothing that actually says plumbing. Job booking. That's kind of funny, right? Nothing actually says they're a plumbing company. How do they not have? They have plumbing repair, drain cleaning, commercial, other. So let's try. Golly, I can't keep track of this. Drain cleaning, repair, clogged toilet drain. Okay, so that's the. So this is. Can I? They don't let me view it. Just edit it. So if I edit this and I look at this ID here, 1689. This is what we chose the first time as the job type ID. 1689. Class repair. Clogged toilet drain. I guess we don't really know. We didn't check job type mapping yet. So, clogged toilet drain. What the heck is this? Add custom fields, 6 custom fields. I see. Okay. At least I know where we're getting this job type from. The business unit is service. That's interesting. So it has to be associated with a business unit. And can I do multiples? I can. Ooh, okay. Even more interesting. If I go to job type mapping, yeah, it's like, oh, couldn't save your data. Couldn't save your data. Oh, that's integrations. That's not going to be what I want. Yeah, there's nothing there. It's just broken. Okay. So it is going to be under job types. They are associated with business units, it looks like. Job class. A class lets you group related job types and filter on the schedule calendar or in reporting. Example, water heater install, toilet install, etc. They all may be grouped into the class installation, optional, product label, etc. So I guess the only thing, we have a couple options here to make a decision without the client. I can keep the same categories that they have on their website, which is currently hard-coded, but that does have to map. If I'm going to select drain cleaning, it does need to point to something real on the back end. Or I can simplify this flow, and instead of having this same stuff here, I could just, I'm leaning towards the second option as I talk about this. I could just say, look, go look up all the job types, and whichever ones are assigned to my business unit, they're just going to show up in a list. So you just pick from the list of job types, and I'll just do 3 or 4 as an example. So the client gets a good demo. They can see that it's realistic data, and then that allows us to have the conversation about, well, how should this be structured, right? In fact, just like grab a thing here, Wompy Dompy, copy to clipboard, save the clipboard, bring it back over here. I'm gonna drop this up and over here. Bam, bam. And I'm gonna put in a sticky note on my board here that says how to group job types for the booking form display, ? So that's going to be, that's really for this one here, populate from ServiceTitan. So I'm going to try this. So let's go over to Postman. This is job types. Back to Postman over here. I'm just going to enlarge our Postman. I got some example APIs. I'm wondering if, so Paul, who I was just talking to a second ago on the phone, he did a lot of these already. So I'm trying to not reinvent the wheel. So he has a job types API call here. So I'm gonna duplicate this. No, I'm just gonna pull this out. Integration. So I'll pull this back up to, so I have all of this stuff under like a reference directory, because I've been trying to improve this on the Postman side. So over here, instead of a hard-coded URL, we have an environment variable now that says ServiceTitan base URL. For tenant has its own deal ServiceTitan tenant ID to be in the right. So I'm pointing at the integration environment right now. I'm going to rename this to just list job types. Authorization should just inherit auth from the parent. Headers, we can delete that header. We don't need it. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to send the request. It's going to say, hey, you don't have a token, bruh. So we're going to refresh our token here. Back to job types. Boom. A bunch of job types. Question is, what do we have right here? I don't know. How much is in this data? 1, 2, 3, a bunch. And they're not necessarily our business unit. So I want to see, this is the ServiceTitan API documentation here. Do we have a job types API? We do. We can do the get here. Do they have a filter? For a business unit, let's say, please say yes. They do not. Tenant name, min duration, priority IDs, perform lookup by multiple IDs, page, include total, order by, order direction. If you guys can't see that, just let me know. You gotta tell me. I can make it bigger. But it does not have the filter that I want. It does have a bunch of example data, of course. So kind of lame. What we're going to have to do here, I'm going to copy this. We're going to come back. And this is actually a limitation I keep running into with ServiceTitan, is that while they have APIs around all their data, they're, how do I say this, like, the features of the API are somewhat limited. Like I can't filter for all the job types on business unit. So I have to query, I have to select star. Well, they have pagination, of course, so it's not quite a select star, but you get the idea. I have to grab everything, filter it on my side to get only jobs relevant to that business unit. And for the prototype, we're just going to do it in line. We're going to do it all the time. Down the road, we will need to cache that. And like refresh it once an hour, once a day, maybe. Maybe there's webhooks or something that can tell us when that stuff changes. Probably not. So we got our handler here. We got some ServiceTitan types. And I'm actually just going to add, because I know I want it anyways. Do it. Do the add. Do the add. So this is going to be job types, right? So add a type for job type. Will it do it? Yeah. I accept your thing. Do you think it got it right? Do you think it did the right thing? Looks like we got ID, name, business unit IDs, skills, tag, type IDs, priority, duration. I'm checking this with real data because the documentation can lie. Sold threshold, class summary, no charge, enforced recurring, whatever, modified on. Are we going to use all these fields? No. I just want to make sure they're right, because if I'm going to put it in the external data, because if I'm going to put it in the code as a type, I want to make sure it's as accurate as it can be. Okay, I can't validate external data, but I do have the active in there. Looks good enough for me. So I can delete these code comments now, of course. Delete. And then services. So this is, again, kind of prototype stuff here, but we have this massive file of all the services, all the classes here. I guess, do we have one for job types? So we have one for jobs, which are JPM, which is jobs. Jobs and project management is all one big API here, I guess. Right here. Job planning, not projects. Job planning and management. So I would actually mirror job planning and management. Should we just say job management? Like, why would you say planning and management? The thing I want is clarity above everything else. And if this is going to be, if this file is going to directly map to all the available APIs here, okay, export, appointments, whatever, I kind of want to name the file directly in line with this, because if somebody else was coming back and trying to find this later, the more it maps, I think the easier it's going to be, even if it's a long name. I'll just do job planning management. Yes, I am the owner of a business called Gemini, where we build MVPs, we build all kinds of stuff for all kinds of people. Completed job, job details, create job, job service. See, this is interesting too, because it's like, man, this actually feels like it should be a folder in the same way that they've got all this stuff grouped. These would be different files. So bear with me. This is how it's going here. Job planning management. If I can spell, that's going to be a folder. We're going to do a new file under here called something like, where did the job types come from? Pow, 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 pow. Okay, I guess the label here is just called job types. So that's what I'm going to call this file. Job types TS. And then I'm going to come over here. You know, I feel like this is where, if ServiceTitan, like there should be an SDK for this. Why am I writing this by hand, you guys? Service Titan. Client. Of course not. Of course not. You know, why would it be easy? I am so tempted right now to go find, to see if they have a Swagger file. And then if they had a Swagger file on this thing, right? I'm sure they don't. What is it normally? Swagger.json? Swagger? Come on. Does the ServiceTitan API have a Swagger file I can generate a CLI from? Everything would be typed. All the code would be written. I wouldn't have to write anything. Does not officially have the spec. Not downloadable. Manually build. Explore all the endpoints. Docs are interactive-ish. Copy. No. Use Postman and then export as open API. Import endpoints into Postman. Dang, man. You know, isn't it wild? Isn't it wild we live in a world with a $500 billion investment in AI, and yet a multi-million-dollar company like ServiceTitan does not have a documented API that you could generate an SDK from. You've got some small percentage of the population living 20 years in the future, or rather, better said, you've got some large percent of the population living 20 years in the past. Isn't that crazy? One thirty. Stream is at 1:30. Try to make a clip out of that later. Okay. So that was a good try. We got to go back to doing this kind of sort of the old-fashioned way. Thankfully, this AI should start to just do a lot of stuff for me here. Okay, can you just read whatever stuff was doing before? And actually, this is my opportunity to do this a lot better than what was done the first time. So if we look at the previous services, again, it was done fast. This is not a critique from the previous developer, but the base URL here, it's kind of dynamically driving this, which we could obviously make this a configuration like we were sort of doing before, right? Because we don't have this set. So certainly I would want some kind of node environment set, but I think I would also want, yeah, just ServiceTitan base URL, right? ServiceTitan base URL. This is looking at the integration environment by default. I'm going to copy both of these. I'm going to go to a separate window and actually put them in my .env file that I don't want to show. So I got to go to this. I got to go to InTown. I'm going to vim my env here. I'm going to drop that in for, yup, just like that. So it's actually matching. Currently, it's just matching what you guys see on the screen right now. And is that right? Yeah, that's going to be right. But I got to go to env. What is it? Env here. I'm going to jump down there. I'm going to add in the base URL and not that. Sorry. Why is it being weird on this environment? Ooh, environment says integration here. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go back and change my env to say integration. So I'm going to change that off screen, and then I'm going to come back on screen right here and change this to integration. Thank you, AI. Okay, so ServiceTitan has this base URL now. So if I come back over here, I don't need the environment. I don't need base URL. I really just need that. Well, okay, that's fine, I guess. And then it's looking at the job types there, which feels like the right API. Let's go back and just double check that. JPM v2 tenant / job types. Bloody, 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 bloody. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This needs to go away. This is not a valid file anymore. Delete that before I forget. And then, yeah, types, I'm going to leave that alone. Well, I should actually move those types. I will eventually. env, I can leave that for a second. I wanted to go back to services here because we got this base URL getting set up, but then with create job, get job. Okay, so he's passing in the auth token. That's fine. I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to think about that too much. Get job types. Yeah, exactly. Good job. Good job, good job, good job. Good, 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 good. So AI is completing the fact that I need the auth token, the app key, the tenant ID. What is it doing now? ServiceTitan response, import from types. Good, good. I don't think the other one was doing that, right? Yeah, so I'm not going to overwrite that. Okay, so got to export it. Of course. So auth token, app key, tenant ID. I need all these in order to make the request. Make the request. I brought in the ServiceTitan response like wrapper data type with the job ID or the job type as the generic in here. Job type should have all that other crazy stuff that we looked at earlier. ID name, business unit IDs, etc. Job types. This is kind of confusing because we have TypeScript types and then we have the job types here, but that's fine. We can live with that. So we want all the types, but like I said earlier, we actually have to filter out by the business unit IDs. And I kind of just want to make this work. So I'm still going to be taking some shortcuts in the code here. ServiceTitan, job planning management, job types. Under services here, so we have these routes, and then we have the services, which are supposed to map. This ServiceTitan, this is actually, I want to rename this. I'm going to be very explicit that this is meant only for API calling logic. I don't want to put any business logic inside of this folder. So I do want to put business logic probably inside of, yeah, I want to do it in here, man. Book. Okay. Yeah. API appointments. Yes, this is the route, but I actually want, if I can, I'm still learning NextJS, but like not services actually. Handler. The code that's currently in this handler file, get available time slots. This is the kind of code that if I could, I would put directly in these folders here to keep everything together. So for example, let's go back to our UI. Let's get grounded here. So right up in here, this is the, in our UI, we call this the service selection step. Okay. And this step, I don't believe is actually calling any backend endpoints at this point. If it was, though, it would probably be calling the job API, if you think about it. How does Next.js work here? Because can I put more files under here? You guys know? Let me see. Actually, I'm going to say ask. I'm going to say, actually, you know what? Hold up. There is a specific Next.js GPT here. I'm going to have a conversation with this. So I have a front end form, whatever. What parts are relevant? I'm trying to think about this. I have a front end form. I want to fetch data for the form. Struggling to figure out how to lay out my file, directories, and names. You guys tell me, if anybody's watching, tell me how to do this. Because I want to group the back end files, you know, by feature in like I always want to say domain, because I come from domain driven design, where you would do that by domain. Would that be in API, you know, booking types? Actually, I don't want to lead the witness here. I'm just going to do that. Let's just start with this for a second. Front-end form, back-end API, grouped by domain. It's a form, app users form page, UI page with the form. Actions, server action for fetching user data. App users route, API route handler. Server action for fetching user data. Recommended for app router. Fetch user, fetch. Use server. And then it's just fetching the user replace with dynamic parameter. Yeah, but that's not what I want to do, actually. Why this pattern works well. Okay, as a good start. But I'm not fetching user data. In this case, I'm fetching job types that a user can book. I'm building a booking service. The API needs to use service tokens and such. So I won't be passing those from the front end, like in your example with user ID. Let's see what it says there. So we still have actions, server only fetch using service token. So it still wants it in app booking actions. I also find it a little interesting that it's booking form page. I don't know how that's going to render, to be honest with you guys. Excuse me. Front end with server fetch, booking form component, client side, booking form, whatever. Why this is secure and clean, bonus, yeah. Okay, well, so I mean, it's not going through API at all. And I'm actually really curious to try that. So over here, I've got routes, video consultation form, components. Everything else was under API here. Let me check something actually. Checky, whatever. App booking actions. All right. Here we go. So under here, new folder. Hey, come back. Components. New folder. Actions. New file. What would this be called? Job types. Do they want the get up in there? Get job types. Okie. New file, get job types.ts. And blah, blah, blah. This is calling the fetch, but presumably, yeah, it's going to do a bunch of stuff like that. Hopefully without breaking. App API. So it's going to pull App API, ServiceTitan API, planning management job type. So it's pulling in the service file. It's trying to use the environment variable for some of that stuff. That's not the right, it's the right idea, wrong pattern though, because like if we follow this other service file over here, I actually needed to do this, import that, redo some things. So we're actually getting the auth token from there. Can I format this file, please? Format document. Thank you. Doesn't like ServiceTitan. Can we add this to the workspace to the user settings? Please. Thank you. Get job type. All right. I feel good about that. And to be honest with you guys, wow, just export the function. You add in the job type thing. Do that. I kind of like this. I kind of want to just log this on the front end and see if this works the way that I would expect it to. This is under actions. So if I go into my components, like we're seeing over here, booking form page, you just import it. Wow, it's crazy. Let's see here. This would be in the service selection step. Is it going to know? It knows to pull it in. And then I just want to do it right up in here, actually. Get job types, doing the await. Default saying get form, booking form page. Wow, really? That's going to work? Sorry, like I can just say await and it will say async and it will just work. Console log the job types. Oh man, who's excited? Who's excited? Ooh, fail. Ooh. See the browser for more information. Okay, well, look at this. We did actually fetch the job types. But above error occurred in the router. React will try to recreate this component from the tree or whatever. Are you currently hiring developers? Hash me. Not currently. I have 3 developers that I've worked with in the past that I would hire if I had the work for them. And then after that, I would be looking for folks. All 3 of them, 4. There's 4 developers I would hire. 3 of them are currently out of work. It's a rough market out there. Invalid hooks. Component was suspended by an uncached promise. Yeah, I'm suspect of that, you guys. This doesn't make sense to me. It's a front end page with a server fetch. I think it's because this says use client here. I think I need a different architecture or something. Because it's fetching the data and then it feeds it into the client side component. And that's why. What if I just say remove use client? Is everything going to crash here? Try this again. Yeah. So I'll have to figure that out later, I guess, because it looks like this. This isn't a page. Hold on. Let's roll this back a second. Let's grab these 2 lines, 3 lines. Grab these 3 lines out. Yes, remove that. This is a component. This is my bad. See, I don't know what I'm doing, you guys. There is a page here. Okay. I mean, this page still says use client, unlike this one here. So that's interesting. If I remove that, is this going to load? Nope. You're importing a component that needs use effect. It only works in a client component, but none of its parents are marked with that and stuff. So I have kind of a design problem here in my Next.js, it looks like, because there should theoretically be a way for us to do this fetching. This is probably why the previous developer was using the API the way that he was. And I don't really want to. This is a good thing for us to refactor later, I think, and try to see if this is going to work. I want to stay focused on delivering a feature, though. So we're going to leave this as is for now. We're not going to mess with that. We've got job types as an action. I mean, I kind of want to leave this in place because I liked where this was going. I'm kind of sad. Shed a little tear. That's not going to work out. But I think what I can do here is under job types. We're going to go under job route. I got to do another one here, don't I? I don't like this. I don't like how this API is going to end up with just a whole bunch of folders for each different API thing, for each different API call that we're doing. But again, just for the sake of getting this working, I don't like. I'm resisting this so hard, you guys. Is there any other? Give me an alternative. Okay, routes instead of server actions while still grouping backend logic. Form API booking job types route. Okay. I'm just looking for, here we go. So I was looking for API booking job types. Okay, this was the pattern apparently that the previous developers are using. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna work through this. And I like this a little better. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna have a new folder here. I call it booking. Under booking, we're gonna have, yeah, I'm not, still gonna have a ton of folders, I guess, but job types. And then under job types, we're gonna have our route.ts. Shared API call reusable, lib booking, fetch job types. Oh, because it's trying to be reusable from the front end. Yeah, that is kind of a lot of work, isn't it? Isn't it? What do I look for in a developer as a business owner? Good question. Copy. Job types. This is just going to be get job types, tab, job types. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, so actually this, I'm going to move this file to, I'll get to you in a second. I'm thinking about it. Booking form page, route, DS, route. Booking, lib booking. See, I think that's where I would rather this job types just be right in here. It's like, sure, have the route. Think about this as like you're an express route. And then I'd rather just have job types right here. It's just right next to it. App API booking job types. Get job types. And this is along the line of an action or a use case here, because it's actually going to be doing get job types by business unit. And I'm not even going to worry about passing in the business unit, because that's going to come from a constant. From constants. Business unit ID. And then once I get all these job types back, I'm actually going to filter, return. No, I want to do this intermediate thing because I want to say log. So I want to say job types by business unit, yada, yada, yada. What do I look for in developers? Job types, route, get job types. What you tripping about? By business unit, yes, of course. I'm also thinking about wrapping some of these in try catches, but again, prototype code. I just want to make sure it works. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so I'm organizing this a little better, I think, under booking. Although I still have to have, like I said, these kind of lookup files here. Not the greatest, but I'll be able to start consolidating in time. Just trying to set up the new pattern here. What do I look for in a developer? You know, in one of my first jobs, sorry, that's not true, actually. I worked for 3 years at an enterprise. I then went to a small consulting company of about 23 people. And they had a phrase, I remember, within the first few months. They said, we look for people who have the attitude and the aptitude. and that has stuck with me all these years. There's really just two categories of things for developers that I look for. I look for the attitude, because every day new technology comes around. We have to figure it out. AI is changing everything so fast that all I can expect of you is that you have the attitude of learning new things. You're going to work hard. Okay, work ethic is severely lacking in our generation, in my generation, the generation after. And I don't think that's just me being an older person. I know I don't look old, but I'm 36. I don't think that's just me looking down on the 20-somethings. I really do think that, like, we just are, like, our society today, we have so many things that we do not have to work for. The bread on our table, the streaming internet, movies. There's so many things that we just get basically for free, or for $10 a month, you can get anything. And I think that just puts you in a mindset of you just don't have to struggle as much as pretty much every previous generation before you. And I know that's been happening, but I do think that there's kind of this resistance to rolling up your sleeves and just working hard for long periods of time. And in that hard work, I mean, it's all kinds of different work. I mean, it's the hard work of, like, playing around with the new technology, building a new app, learning, debugging a legacy system, right? Everybody wants to, like, work in the cool new sexy languages, and it's like, yeah, but there's so much code out there that's freaking PHP, WordPress, whatever, and you have to have a willingness to get in to whatever the client is using, whatever system they're using, get in, figure it out, add value, like I'm doing with ServiceTitan right now. So I think that's all rolled up in the attitude piece. And then you've got the aptitude piece, which, not everybody's meant to be an engineer. I think there's a lot of folks who chose a career because they thought there was good money there. And that's not a bad reason to choose a career. But in the words of Mike Rowe, famous Dirty Jobs guy in the U.S., he had a show called Dirty Jobs. He says, do what you're good at and what you enjoy. And we all need to face the facts sometimes. And for some people, they are just not good at it. And they're going to be happier if they pivot what they're doing, go more into sales, go more into product, go more into engineering or whatever. So, how do I measure that aptitude? I don't do it with whiteboard interviews. I don't do it with elite code problems. I don't do it. I mean, AI solves all that stuff, right? So I usually will give them a take-home problem that they have to do for a couple of hours. And I know there's been a lot of people don't like that nowadays. But for me, it's like, hey, this is the real world. In the real world, I assign you a task on a task board. You go work on it for a day, and then I review your code. We have a conversation. We try to get it in. So that's how I'm going to set up the interview processes. You go to a real world problem, and it's an open book test. You can use AI, whatever. But when you come back, we're going to work on that together. We're going to debug it together. We're going to try to add a feature together. We're going to do some paired programming. And in that paired programming is where, that attitude and aptitude is I hope that it's going to shine. And I think the other thing, over the years, I've been doing this for 14 years now, I have actually lowered my interview standards because you just simply cannot find out what a person's capable of in a couple hours of interviewing them. So I actually have lowered my standards, just get the person in, and if they don't work out, like, that person within the first 2 to 4 weeks. If in the first 2 weeks of actually working, if that person has the attitude and aptitude, and if they don't, you just part ways. If they're just not a good fit for your company, you just part ways. And to me, I mean, that might sound cruel, but it's like, hey, I would rather have one solid interaction with somebody, through that example problem and paired programming, and then just take a chance on them, than spend 4 weeks, 6 weeks interviewing hundreds of developers, trying to pick the best one, and then still finding out that maybe they weren't a good match. So, I can afford to do this because I'm not a big enterprise with a bunch of HR rules and red tape and everything. So I can afford to just give people example projects. And, maybe part of it too, down the road, maybe what we need to see more of is actually starting out with contract work. Like, why don't we give somebody a 2-week project and actually pay them for it? Because again, if I just give somebody a 2-week project and say, hey, deliver this at the end of 2 weeks, if you deliver it, and treat them as a team member during that time, right? If you deliver it, I'll pay you. If you don't deliver it, I won't pay you, right? Make it super concrete, make it deliverable based, make it real value. So maybe there's kind of this like intermediate step where we just pay them as a contractor for those first couple of weeks until we know that that person's going to pull their weight on the team, and then we pull them in full time. But anyways, a long-winded answer, but 12 years later, I come back to attitude and aptitude as just simply what I look for in developers. Okay, we got job types. We got the route happening here. So I want to get this console logged on the front end so I know that I'm I know job types is working and it's filtering by the business unit ID like I want it to. Handler. I don't care about the handler at this point, but I do. This is all going to happen in the service selection step. It's going to call the route. It's going to get the job types. So in here, this is where I'm going to console log, right? Yes, and I'm going to have to do this in a use hook. I do believe. Use hook, use effect to fetch job types. Boom. Import. What's that, bruv? I see. It's just putting it in an async thing. Okay, fetch job types. Yes, and it's gonna log it right here. KKKKK. Refresh. Boom. 42 job types. It's not what I was expecting because it should be filtering by business unit. This is logging on the front end. This is logging on the back end. Is not my business unit. Do I have the business unit in the... It was in the constants, right? That's where I put it. Constants. Business unit ID is in fact 428, whatever, 428, whatever. It does not seem like I should have 42, right? I mean, unless somebody came in here and added the business unit to a bunch of these. I mean, we could check this. Let me just grab one. Who's first? Repair clogged toilet drain. That one makes sense because that's what we've been booking. That's what's been hard coded this whole time. Install fixture install. Business units 428 2891 428 2891. I'm getting suspect, you guys. I'm getting very suspect. 428 2891. I feel like a robot. Okay. Here's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing I've had the wrong business ID this whole time. Or business unit. If I go to business units, there are 4. One is service. There's virtual consultation service. If I look at that, yes, you see that? So the virtual consultation service business unit is 7681, blah, 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 blah. So I need to correct this to be 7681, blah, 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 blah. Do that. That's in the constants. Things should refresh. I should have 0. Good. Here we go. Here we go. Now, I'm going to hop back to backflow services. Probably not backflow services. Probably job types. Probably I will go do the clogged toilet thing. Yeah, let's find you. Let's edit you. Let's add you to virtual consultations. And do I need to click save at the bottom? Probably do. Job types. We're going to go ahead and add in backflow services. I'm just going to add in like 3 or 4 here. Let's do, so we did the top, we did a middle one. Let's do the bottom one. Warranty, sales. Okay, let's not do this bottom one. Achim ASR. Repair, water treatment. Let's do that one. Virtual consultations, save. Now, boom. There's only 2 in there. Shall we refresh and see if we get a third? Okay. something's different here. So backflow services should be 1. Repair water treatment system, repair clogged toilet drain. We did not get backflow services, even though it is in fact virtual consultations. That's interesting. So, this is why you test with like a lot of different data. And if I go to our back end here, which is fairly long, surviving on caffeine, 3 more hours and I'm dead in bed. Black Ark, good to see you again. We got 1 clogged toilet drain repair. There's only 2. I should have 3. I mean, I expect to have 3. Of course, I'm not logging until after I do the filtering. Get job types. There must be some difference, y'all. There must be some difference between can we go to job types, project types, job types, filtering on tenant and everything else? Maybe this is in a different tenant. Maybe because it doesn't have a class. What could it be? What could it be? IDs page, something. Hey, check it out. Black Ark, are you still out there? I'll give you a little demo of some of the changes we made. Although I'm still getting bummed here that we do not have job type includes business unit ID. Shall we do let's do our breakpoint here. I'm going to kill this. I'm going to launch the debug. Just going to refresh here. Should hit the debug. All right, thanks, man. So job types, page 1, 50. Ooh, that's why. Page size 50, and there's 50 data in here. Dang it. Got to deal with the pagination. Where am I looking, you guys? I'm going to job types. There's more than 50 job types. Of course, I can't see that because it doesn't exactly show me all this here. I can test this in Postman. Let's just do this kind of hard-coded test deal. So what is this? We got job types here. Key, page. Can I just say page? Value 2. Submit. Got to do my refresh token. Send that. Come back here. Send. Page size 50. Yup, you can see we've got some more down here. Backflow services, there it is on page 2. There's only 3 items on page 2. This is good though. This is really good. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to let it run. I'll come back over here and let's see if AI can do this for us. Would I do it at this level? I think I would have to do it at this level. Let's see here at get job types. Make sure this runs through all. Make sure this queries all pages so we can build the list of. So we can make sure we've collected the list of all job types for the business unit. This agent has done too many changes on me before, So I'm going to go back to manual. Well, while I'm waiting for the agent to run, I'll just run through this again real quick. So, not the agent, the AI, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, we do a couple of these. This is all the same here. Into your details. Main thing we did is we sorted out a couple of bugs and refactor. So now you select a date. I hate this date picker. The agent did this. I didn't tell it to do this. It just did it. But you can select your date. I don't like this top portion. I do, however, like this. So anyways, most of this is just, it was kind of working yesterday, but it had bugs, so it's all working correctly. So you select which tech you want, or which time slot you want, 2 techs. It now selects Doug only for a half an hour, do the rest of it. So it's just working a little bit more smoothly now. Now, if we go back here, what changed? Added a loop to fetch all pages while has more. Can I see that? Where did you put that? Where did you put that? That's all here. Show me the diff. It used to show me this like nice diff thing, you know? All job types. Page 1, page size 100, adjust. Come here. Wow, has more true, has more page +1. Really? Is there not anything in the API? Shouldn't there be a thing in the API that says has more pages? How many records to return? 50 by default. Aha, see this? Include total. Whether total count should be returned. You know, I guess that's another thing I don't have. I don't have a type for the requests. I've typed some of my response data from the API, not the requests. This is still job types, right? Yeah. You know, ain't no time like the present. How much time do I got? A half an hour left in my schedule here. So, let's think about this. So we got job types down here. So actually this is fine. This can be higher quality though. So I'm going to say copy, whatever. Oh, I guess it just doesn't, I can just ignore it. Okay. I thought maybe I had to like reject it. Last question for today. Will you do live stream tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Thursday? I'm trying to live stream almost every day. I'm live streaming every time I work on this project. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm available. So I should be streaming tomorrow afternoon. I might stream Friday morning, Friday afternoon. I have a podcast to do. Have you guys checked out my podcast? Go check out my podcast. It's on my website. If you go to jemini-io/podcast. Okay, so task management, blah, 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 right here, response, URL. This query parameters, though. These are all query parameters. That's all query parameters. Is there a way, hold up, if I'm doing an Axios get URL headers, can I say params? I can say params. And I can say something like, for instance, where'd it go, guys? Include total. True. Let's tie it in Postman. Okay, send. Total count 53. So that's going to help tell us when we're done iterating. I don't want to just iterate 100 times, obviously. And I don't really want to have to do logic that says when the response is empty, like query until an empty response and then stop. That's one extra query that I have to do. It's just not very clean. I'm thinking about types though. I'm like, how do I type these query parameters? I guess I just do it like this, right? So if I come over here to request parameters, man. Okay. Here's something I can do here. So I can say, I'm going to do a new types folder a types file right here. And I'm going to say job types query params is all this stuff. And hopefully create a TypeScript interface for the query params. Generate. Later, Hashimi. Boom. Accept is command enter. Query params. Boom, boom, boom. Export that. Head back to my previous page. I was doing all this. Yes, good. Yes. So then I'm going to say const params, which is query params. And at least now I get some like little type helpers and stuff. So I can say something like, hasn't imported it. Okay, now it imported it. Now I get the type helpers. Total true. Yes, it good. Already did that. Good. Interesting thing about this. Where am I? I need to be aware of like what file I'm in here because this is under API. This is under ServiceTitan API. I don't actually want to hard code this part of it here. This is not what I want to do. I actually want to put this in the method signature here because I want this file, pretty much every file under ServiceTitan API. Look at this new file. README. ServiceTitan API. Call it an SDK, call it an API, call it what you will. I don't care. Point is, this stuff needs to be very purely just type helpers for the API. And yes, I looked for if there was anything off the shelf I could use, and there was not. Open source opportunity. You can go build your own NPM module that is a wrapper around the ServiceTitan API, properly typed and everything. That'd be great. Maybe I'll do that someday. But that's what everything in this folder is supposed to be because I want to leave this stuff flexible. It's like a library, right? In fact, I'm going to put this in here. All files in this folder should only provide helpers to call the ServiceTitan API. I am going to call this an SDK. That's kind of how you would traditionally think about this, I believe. So because of that, right, we just want to pass in the parameters here for get job types and make sure that's nice and TypeScriptified. Close this one down. Which brings us back to here, which means it's trying to auto-fill out parameters. Hold on. This should not be required. Let's make sure that's not required. So here's where I actually, at this level here, because this is like the use case who's doing all the business logic, this is where I'd want to include total true. Then I would use that information to determine. Here's another question. This response here. ServiceTitan response job type. Okay, this is coming from this other types file down here. Oh yes, it does have total count. Okay, good. So now I can instruct the AI. I can say, look, bruh, use total count from the response to determine if we should request the next page. In a loop to make sure we get through all pages. Let's see if that works. page size 100. Ooh, I see. Total count 0, page 1. Well, that's nice, I guess. Although I want to test this. I want to make sure it actually does it twice. I guess I will test it at a lower level. I will test it at like 10, just so I can watch it, make 10 requests, and then I will set it back to 100 so that we're not blowing up the API in production. Do. Have you seen that syntax before? Do while? Man, it's been a while since I've seen a do while. If the all job types length. Oh, because we're building this list here? Yup. All job types is concating. Okay. So it's just going to run through and build the list in a couple of API calls. Then it will run the filter logic. So it's checking that the length is less than total count, etc. Yeah, I dig. Apply. Oh, now it gives me the diff. So you got to apply it and then I can accept it. Okay, so let's go down to 10 just for funsies. Don't forget to change that. Also, I'm not. Let's just do console log fetching page of job types. I like that. I think this will automatically run. No, because I'm not on that page. If I just go back to the boom, look at that. Oh, I like it. I like what I'm seeing. Page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there was originally we were getting back. There was 53 entries. We got back 50 of them in the first page. So we're missing 3 entries, which means that on the front end, we should have 3 different options now. Repair clogged, and then a repair water treatment system, and then backflow services. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, don't forget Dan. Don't forget team. I'm actually going to set this back to 50. No, I'm just going to say 100. But now this is good because even though I know that I'm not using this code right now, the integration environment always has less data than production environment. And so I got distracted with the chat. So you want to be ready for that production environment if you can and do stuff like this. Black Arch, I'm sorry, I just saw your request about where's your buddy friend. I don't know where he's at today. Has he texted me back? I texted him earlier. I have not heard from him. Fridays, chapter 1 and 2. It's kind of fun having him on there, right? I'll have to, I think he wants to join me more in the future. I think it's just, getting our schedules lined up. Okay, paginating. We're getting those 3. We have 15 minutes left. Can we update the page? I want to make these options here. I want to make them based on our types. I know this is working. I'm going to close that. I know this is working. I'm going to close that. I got my constant updated to be the right business unit. I'm fetching the job types here on the selection step. Let's get it, because this is hard-coded to these things. I actually need to do a little bit of lifting here. Okay, and I'm actually going to go back. Let's see if the agent can handle this. I'm going to go out on a limb here, because when you have 15 minutes left, you take more risks, not less, and you probably shoot yourself in the foot when you probably could have done it with 15 minutes left if you had just stayed the course. Of course, we don't stay the course. Use the, what is this? Use the fetch job types API call to dynamically look up job info and use that for the available options on the form. There should only be one list of available options. When the option is selected, make sure to save the job ID so that we can use that when we create the job. Oh man, you guys, probably gonna rewrite all my, you know what, before it does this. I am saving my progress. What have we done? What have we done? We added some environment variables for Node env integration. We added the ServiceTitan base URL. Job types by business unit. We added that function in here. That's what we were just testing. And then I just added some like backend API files. Added some type files. Added a little markdown file. Job types. Yeah, more backend stuff. More type stuff. Fixed our business unit. We had a bogus business unit for a minute. How do we summarize all that into a single commit? I'm going to call this a chore, adding APIs to support job type, dynamic job types. Hey, Black Arch, I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to change my sound output. And I think you should be hearing some music now. I'll turn it down a little bit more. Let me know if you hear the music, and let me know if it's annoying. I will turn it off if it's annoying. I'm just curious. Because this is how I code. I code with this kind of music playing. And this is supposed to be royalty-free music, because I've been edited before because I used, you know, pop songs off the shelf. All right, what's going on here? Did I not send this? Oh, I didn't send this yet because I was doing the commit thing. Okay. Let's try this now. 11 minutes. We got this. Come on, somebody. I'll help you modify to use the dynamic job types. La, 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 la. Perfect. I now have the job type structure. Let me update the store to handle the job types and then update the component. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Job types. Adding it in the store as like an empty list or whatever. Selected job type is null. Store stuff. That looks good. Now let me update the service selection step component to use the dynamic job types. I like that too. Ooh, lots of changes. Lots of changes. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. Is loading job types. Oh, I like that. I guess I can look at it right here. Is loading job types. Set error, try, fetch them, set them, console log it. If there's an error, set the error. Finally set it to false. I like that. It's going to redo the layout, which I'm not going to be able to grok just by looking at it in the codes. If error, return this form, otherwise return this other form layout with this stuff in here. No services available at this time. Okay, I'm liking that. Good error handling. And then disabled if there's not a selected job type for the next button. Cool. I think that's gonna look really good. Now I need to update the handler that creates jobs to use the selected job type ID. Update the handler that creates jobs to use the selected job type ID and stuff. Yes, good. Yes. Let me check what the job creation happens. Grep. Why did it say grep job type ID dot star 1689? Oh, because it was using a hard coded ID before. AI, I don't know if AI picked that up really. I need to update the handler function. Blah blah blah. Job type ID sounds good. I noticed there are some constants that got replaced. Let me check if those constants are defined and fix them. Okay. Are you doing the right handler here, buddy boy? Campaign. I don't know about that. What handle? What are we talking about here? Can I click on you? Can you take me to your master here? Services, handler, job data, create job. I already changed this, which is weird. You see how it's like campaign ID, delete, add with a comment? I feel like it's working with an outdated commit or something. Why would it do that? That's kind of concerning. I mean, the logic, it's functionally, it's the same thing. So, okay. Finally update the contact. Excuse me. Step to include all of that. Perfect. Now let's test and build everything. All right. All right. Everything got built correctly, I guess. Excellent. The build is successful, and I can see that the job types are being fetched correctly. The output shows 3 job types from the business unit. What? Did you test this already? What? Did it run a test? What do we got here?
Dinner.
What? Amazing. Amazing. Summary, etc. Key changes made. I already reviewed it all. Okay, I'm gonna accept everything, and then I'm gonna right away make a change right here because job type ID should not have any kind of fallback. I don't like that. I'm gonna delete these code comments, and I'm gonna go see that it's broken. Look at this. What in the world happened, you guys? Hold on, I know what happened. Let's shut everything down. Let's restart this. Oh, heavensies. Here we go. Repair clogged toilet drain. Repair water treatment. Backflow services. So we select, oh wow. Selected service. Details from customer. Where's the clog? Is it overflowing or just bubbling? Whoa. Estimated duration 36,000 minutes. 36,000. 3,600. Okay, well that's okay. Thinking about demoing this to a client, I would not necessarily choose this, but this is what AI gave us, and we're out of time for today, so we're going to keep it. I mean, if nothing else, what I can say to the client is like, hey, look what we can do. I know it's ugly, but I just wanted to show you that when you select this, oh, it's all dynamic and it pulls data from the back end. And if you were to go look and if you were to change it right now, backflow services, are there any pets that we should be aware of? Custom fields. It's really interesting that AI chose to put all this in there. Because I guess, how did you hear about us? Where is this even pulling it from? Summary. That's where it's pulling it from. So it's pulling it from this summary. Backflow services. Maybe. Backflow device testing, repair, replacement must have city form or whatever filled out. Okay, it did not pull it from here. I did not select the right one. Install gas pipeline, whatever. Wow. Can't even do things normal. Okay. Pulling from this summary. We would not have to do that. In fact, I'm just going to remove this. I didn't ask for this. This is more confusing, actually. This doesn't necessarily yield a better demo for this client. So, no. Backflow services. This is on my contacts tab, use form, whatever. This is on my service selection step. Something is going to say selected service in here. Selected. If selected job type and bloody estimated duration, summary, name. Yeah, sorry AI. Like cute, but I don't need cute. Boom. Any more details to share? Boom. do a booking. Let's go all the way through this flow. It's a good place to end it. Friday, I want that 9:30 slot. I want to hit next. Clog drain with Dougie Boy. With the Dougs. I used to watch a cartoon with a Doug in it. And his little dog. Doug and his little doggy. Book it. Oh. Ah. One or more validation errors occurred. Trace ID. Errors is an object. So I don't know what the errors are. You know what I need? I need a generic ServiceTitan handler that will log this was actually today we did all this. Today. Next, I need a ServiceTitan error handler to ensure to log errors in a user-friendly way. I mean, at the end of this, dude, we're just building a full freaking ServiceTitan SDK, which is unfortunate, and I really wish I could use AI more for do that. Maybe I can. Maybe I can come up with like a perfect prompt, right? That's like, hey, and maybe I can feed that to the agent. Maybe I can come up with a perfect little prompt to say I need to build an SDK, and here's the request details, here's the response details, go build me the service in this folder. That'll take a little bit of time to put together probably, but it might be useful because I'm probably going to have to do this quite a bit. There's actually, you can also set up, I'm trying to remember how to do this, but you can set up Axios to have, I think you can set up an Axios instance around a specific API and give it a specific error handler. So like, for instance, right here, when it comes back with this data.errors and there's an object, there's a pattern there, there's got to be a way we can set that up once and not have to call it even every single time. We just like instantiate the ServiceTitan Axios instance, and then it will automatically have that error handler. Maybe something we'll have to investigate. For now, we're out of time. So next, booking did not work. We have this issue here. Let's just capture that. And I'm thinking, I don't want to get sucked into this because I need to go eat dinner with the fams. But I do kind of want to see if there's any. No, it's not going to give me anything. Can I see the request that was made? Customer exists, customer ID, location ID. There it is. Job type undefined. So that did not get passed down correctly. You know why? You know why? Because of this. We ran into this yesterday. In Contact, the way that we're doing Stripe is we're passing in all this crazy big, long kind of crap here. I don't have time to get into it all unless you guys ask like really nicely, but I need to add job type ID to the URL. Well, we just did it. It was off screen. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Select a job type ID, all that. This is annoying. This might be, we mentioned this the other day. We're going to have to do that sooner than later, especially if we keep doing this radio. Job type ID. None of this really matters, I guess. Success URL. What matters is contact step. Confirmation step. post right here, I believe. Job type ID from the search parameters. Job type ID, this, that. So we make sure to get, we don't need technician name. We make sure to get the job type ID off of the URL that comes back, the redirect URL that comes back from Stripe. We make sure that that makes it into this API call to our NextJS backend to have the job type ID. I guess, I mean, this is where it would have been nice in that route. Yeah, it wasn't here either, you know? Should have had a job type ID. Yeah, I can't get everything. Job type ID, etc. Funny. Probably also need to use like Zod at some point. Can I use Zod for better stuffs? Try this one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll have to pick it up tomorrow. Boom. And also, I think another problem is that, oh, 9:30 is still available. Okay, good. It didn't actually book it, I guess. I guess that's a good thing. Come on, somebody. Dang it. Yay. Something worked here. Oh, look at that. Okay. New error. Not surprising. On the invoice, actually. However, stand by. We'll get to it in a second. Error, creating job appointment, whatever. This is too hard to look at. Post, job data. Job created. That was a long time to get there. And I could have just gone over here to the schedule. This was at 9:30 on Friday. 9:30 on June 6th. Boom. 9:30, June 6th. Something's wrong. I don't want Adam. I want Dougie. I want Dougs. I want the D-Dougs. Boom. There it is. Adam is a non-managed technician. We ran into that issue earlier, so I'm going to remove him actually because the schedules we're looking at is Doug and Pedro. So this was the one that we just created. Yes, that looks good for now. All right. I'm also noticing that we've got some location information in here. That's not getting over here the way that we want. There's still a bunch of dummy data, so that is on tomorrow's list as well. Booking did not work. Got a couple issues. So actually booking, we resolved this issue here. I want to capture the newest error, which is this one. Actually, the booking did work. But invoice update did not. So that's going to be a bug for tomorrow. Another bug for tomorrow is location, user location, client location is not getting used for the Ho Chi Minh, for the booking request. And actually, I'm also realizing that the more information we're passing here to create this job, this is all happening. Let's scroll back a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and kill my server because I'm done. I'm done, son. Confirmation step. Yes. Confirmation step is still, has the unfortunate reality, not the confirmation step. Yes, it is the confirmation step. Let me find it. Okay, search parameters. That's what I was looking for, but I was actually looking for it in the appointment in the contact step. So the contact step here has to do this stupid long Stripe URL deal because of the redirect issue. Our boy Simon yesterday said, hey, you should just do like an embedded checkout and not do this whole like big long redirect dealio. So the reality is the more that I'm adding information like the client location and all this stuff, this query parameters are just going to get longer and longer and pretty bad. So I think it's a good idea. I think that for the next demo for the client, they don't necessarily see that, right? This is all kind of code hygiene stuff, but and I'm not going to call it a bug. I'm going to call it, improvement that we should use embedded Stripe, because I think we want to do this first. Well, I think we want to fix this bug first. But before we try to go solve this location thing and just continue to pile on, we should go see what this embedded Stripe looks like. So that's for tomorrow. All right. If you're still out there, I appreciate you. Hopefully you learned a little something. Hopefully give me feedback, what you like, what you don't like, all that jazz. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. We'll tackle the embedded Stripe checkout deal and fix a couple more bugs and be